Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist James Olmoff with Dynamic Weather Agency LLC. Today we're going to be talking about the tropics, especially tropical formation and about Tropical Storm Wanda, as the tropics have been quite quiet, but we do have Tropical Storm Wanda still spinning over the northern central Atlantic, and more about that here later on in today's video. But first, before I get into today's video, I do encourage you guys to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. It does help out that YouTube algorithm, allowing more people to see these videos and allowing me to get my message out there, doing my part as a Weather Ready Nation ambassador with the National Weather Service in creating a Weather Ready Nation. And last but not least, I do encourage you guys to head on down to that description section in this video. You can find the links to our social media pages. Head on over there, give us a follow, and to our website, Dynamic Weather Agency LLC, where you can find forecasts and our tropical page on over there, where you can find our interactive tropical tracker, some of the climo that we have going on, and the current stats with this 2021 hurricane season. And last but not least, there's also the link to our Patreon page to help support this channel so I can continue to make content for you guys here on YouTube. Now, taking a look at Tropical Storm Wanda, it's still spinning off of the northern and central Atlantic, about 900 miles, I believe, 800 miles west of the Azores in the Atlantic Ocean. And you can see right here, right now, the current maximum sustained winds are around 51 miles per hour. The pressure right now is around 992 millibars and is moving to the north generally at about 10 miles per hour. It's got a little bit of a northeastern track to it, but it's going to be moving generally to the north at about 10 miles per hour. Now, taking a look at what's been going on in the Atlantic with our hurricane season, where we're at, and I want to explain to you a little bit about Tropical Storm Wanda. It's actually kind of a weird system. It's actually a hybrid type storm system. It's actually what we call a subtropical storm, which contains characteristics of both tropical storm systems and non-tropical storm systems. And because of this, they can form over tropical and subtropical waters. As you can see, Wanda is, when we zoom on out here, I'm going to show you a little bit, it's actually really relatively well north. As we take a look at this again here, Wanda is about at the 35 degree north latitude mark. And as we zoom on out here, you can just see how north Wanda is. As we take a look at the complexity of the system, you can see the low pressure system off to the west and that frontal system off to the east, and that's going to play an important part to how the system is kind of a hybrid, because when we talk about hurricanes, we want them in relatively warm ocean waters in a really weakly sheared environment, and this being a hybrid type system, with this being a low that originally developed over the United States, tracked across, became a kind of a major nor'easter type storm system, causing heavy winds across parts of the New England territories and Massachusetts, where about 300,000 people were without power. And this storm system is just tracked all the way eastward across the basically the central Atlantic to the northern central Atlantic. And going back to this, taking a look at this, like I said, it's a hybrid system formed well north of the equator, so it could be in those cooler waters and those highly more sheared environments. And the stronger winds are located away from the center of that storm sometimes. These are also less symmetrical because of that wind shear factor than tropical storm systems that we see. They're mostly symmetrical and they're able to get those eye wall developments and stuff like that. Now, taking a look at some of the things that have been going on with this season, we finally have gone through the whole list of our 2021 hurricane season names, with Wanda being that last system that has finally formed in the Atlantic. And remember, this actually formed a couple of days ago, and it just has continued eastward across into the north central Atlantic, being the 21st named storm of this season. And this is the third time in recent years that we've actually gone through all the names of our hurricane season. We did this back in 2005, last year in 2020, which was actually 2005 was previously the most active hurricane season. 2020 beat that, and now we're here in 2021 going through the entire list again. And I mentioned in previous videos, we were using the Greek alphabet. We did that back in 2005 and 2020. We're not doing that anymore, and we're going this year to the new supplemental list. And if we do have another storm system, the next storm system will be Andrea, followed by Braylon. And again, this is a new thing. We were using the Greek alphabet. There was no plans on actually retiring any of the names. We actually had a couple of storms that were severe enough that we actually retired some of the names. So the World Meteorological Organization had to come up with a new plan. So we decided to create a supplemental list where we can actually retire the names and replace them. Now, taking a look at those stats again, 21 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 4 of them been major. We've had 159 fatalities so far this season, with 69.5 $1.13 billion in damage, making it the fourth costliest season so far. The strongest storm of this season was Hurricane Sam. You can see Sam here just a few storms ago, but earlier on in the season, had about maximum sustained winds of about 155 miles per hour and the lowest pressure of about 929 millibars for the season. Now, as you take a look at the forecast, now here's NOAA's forecast, the averages, and what we've seen so far. NOAA was expecting around 15 to 21 named storms this year. So far, they've done a really good job. The average is 14, and we're well above that average, sitting at that 21 mark. Now, they're also doing a great job here, too. They forecasted 7 to 10 hurricanes. Now, this was on their later update, and you can see the average is 7, and we're sitting at about average right now, so that's good. Major hurricanes, 3 to 5 is what they forecasted. Average is 3, and we're just barely above that at about 4. Now, as we take a look at our hurricane frequency, as we go through the hurricane season, you can see we start off as a slow start at the, excuse me. Now, as we take a look at our hurricane season frequency, now this is the frequency for hurricanes and named storm systems. You can see we start off quite slow in summer and into early fall. Now, it begins to really ramp up as we move into September. As we move into September, beginning mid-September is about the peak of the hurricane season, and then it's a slow decline after that. Right now, you can see we're on the tail end of that with less than 30 days left of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season as we snagged Wanda near the end, topping off of our list. And you can see we can still have hurricanes even into parts of November and into December, but for the most part, hurricane season ends November 30th, but that does not mean we can't have systems all the way into December. We have seen that before. Now, where are these systems likely to develop? Now, based off of Climo, south of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, and Jamaica, in between there, and kind of the Central Americas, the Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador. That's typically the area where we see the most tropical development in the month of November. Now, we can see some tropical development in the Bahamas, off the eastern coast of Florida and the Carolinas, because we still have that Gulf Stream moving on through that area, transporting a lot of that warm tropical water poleward due to the ocean gyres in that area riding along that eastern coast. So there is an area of tropical development there, and again, you can still see some tropical development across the central Atlantic. But like Wanda we got right now, we can still see some of those lows move across the the United States and maybe form into some of those extratropical, subtropical type storm system. So we'll still have to look out for that. Now, here is again Climo from November 11th to the 20th of tropical cyclones and their origins from 1951 to 2015. And you can still see right here, south of Cuba, the Jamaican Islands, pretty favored area for tropical development, some areas across the central Atlantic. Now, as we take a look at our tropical outlook, for the most part, we're going to be relatively quiet for the next 5 days. Now, the Eastern Pacific, there are some areas of tropical development just off the western coast of the Central Americas and Mexico. There is some low probabilities for tropical development over the next 5 days, but for the Atlantic, we're still looking pretty quiet. Now, why are we looking quiet? Well, take a look at our sea surface temperatures. Now, this is from back at October 1st, and here they are now. Look at that. We're starting to see a decrease in those sea surface temperatures, and we're also seeing the decrease in the tropical cyclone heat, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. Now, we still have those warm ocean waters south of Cuba and the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, and stuff like that. And I said that's going to be still a favorite area for tropical development, as we have still relatively warm ocean waters and a lot of tropical cyclone heat potential there. Again, like I said, across the eastern coast of the United States, Florida, you can see the Gulf Stream transporting those tropical warm ocean waters poleward because of the ocean gyres that we have in the region. And we can still have ocean waters, relatively warm off the western coast of Africa. And again, take a look at that. Here's that tropical cyclone heat potential, which is taking a look at those sea surface temperatures and the depth of those ocean waters. How warm are they at about 80 degrees Fahrenheit? How deep is that still occurring? And you still see that area down there is still relatively warm near the Cuban and Jamaican Islands. So when these low pressure systems develop and these hurricanes develop, they tend to upwell a lot of water. Now, if they upwell cooler water, they're going to die. So having those ocean waters still warm to a certain depth is definitely helping that area climatologically for tropical development. Now, as we take a look at our shear tendency over the last 24 hours, wow, increasing wind shear. And that's due to a lot of those frontal systems continuing to push off across the eastern portion of the United States. And again, unfavorable shear conditions for the most part across much of the Atlantic. There is some favorable shear conditions across, south of Cuba and the Cayman Islands, but we don't have a lot of thunderstorms developing over that area. Most of the thunderstorm activity is on the other side of the Central Americas and and Mexico, which is why we're seeing some of that there. And you can see some of those favored shear conditions, and even still warm ocean waters are there. So that's why we're seeing the tropical activity there and not really over Cuba. There's just less thunderstorm activity going on. We have a lot of suppression of air on over that area. Now, again, before we leave, I just want to show you guys again what's going on with Wanda here. So here's the National Hurricane Center cone forecast right here. And this forecast is basically showing you where the center of that low pressure will likely move over the next 5 days. And as we take a look at this, Wanda is actually going to strengthen as we move into about, I believe, is going to be Wednesday, about 12 p.m. Wednesday. Wanda will actually strengthen to about 60-mile-an-hour winds with about 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So it's still going to be sub-hurricane type forced, but it's going to definitely be a strong tropical storm system. After that, like I said, it's going to continue northward and slowly turn to the east, where it's still going to be a tropical storm system. This cone of forecast goes all the way out to about Saturday, Sunday-ish. So we'll have to continue to monitor this. It will move slightly towards the Azores, may cause some gusty winds on over there, maybe a few some strong precipitation bands possibly, but no major effects on over there. There's no coastal warnings or watches in effect for the Azores at this time. I'm meteorologist James Olive. Thank you for checking out today's video. Signing off. You guys have a great and wonderful day.